So one day after the Pentagon announced its historic decision to extend benefits to same-sex military couples, gay rights advocates are eager to hear how much the president's speech this evening will focus on issues that matter to them. Now, Roll Call points out that Obama's inaugural speech cemented the president's transformation from opposing to gay marriage a few years ago to a full-throated demand for equal rights. But now he's under pressure from gay rights groups to take administrative steps banning discrimination. Joining me now is Richard Socarides, a Democratic strategist and former president of Equality Matters. Richard, it's good to have you here. And just like the president evolved as we watched on his stance about marriage equality, you have evolved on your stance about the president's dealings with LGBT rights in this country. You had written in the Wall Street Journal in 2010, you wrote of him being missing in action on gay rights. However, we fast forward to now, after the second inaugural speech last month, you had written that we might have witnessed the most important speech in gay history from a president. So this evening, how granular do you think the president will be in talking about LGBT equality and an equality agenda at all?
Well, I think you're right. I mean, we've watched his transformation, his evolution before our very eyes, and he's become much bolder to the point where at the inaugural he gave a broadly thematic and really aspirational speech, which had at its core a message on gay rights. I think tonight we will see a much more kind of back to basics speech. I think that you know, the administration, I think, feels maybe that they overdid it a little bit in the inaugural address. So I think this speech will be much more, you know, back to work, back to basics.
All right, so back to basics. Weeks after the election, you wrote a piece in the New Yorker highlighting 8 different things that the president should do for gay rights. Just a few, including appointing an openly gay person to the cabinet, signing the Employment Non-Discrimination Act, and making same-sex marriage legal in even more states. It seems to be a pretty tall order. Well, but realistically, where do you think this can get done? Again, we talk about this short window of time that the president really has.
Well, I think all those things are realistic and are very doable, but I think tonight, when the president's main message is going to be about jobs and the economy, he may very well talk about passing the Employment Non-Discrimination Act, which, as you know, is the long-stalled piece of federal legislation which would guarantee employment discriminations to workers around the country and outlaw discrimination based upon sexual orientation. Now, there's also
you could do by executive order. And
well, the executive order that advocates want signed would extend that rule to federal contractors, to all federal contractors. So the law is quite a bit more broad. It would apply to all private employers, but the president can act on federal contractors unilaterally. And if the Congress does not pass the Employment Non-Discrimination Act soon, I think what he'll say tonight, hopefully, is that maybe he'll go for this executive order. I don't think you're going to hear about marriage equality tonight like you did in the inaugural speech.
Okay. Richard Socarides. Richard, great to see you. Thanks so much, buddy.
Thanks,
I appreciate
Thomas.
you making time for me. All right, so coming up next, Congressman Elliott